In a revelation that has sent shockwaves through political and tech circles alike, rumors are swirling about an unprecedented partnership between Elon Musk and Donald Trump to launch a space-based surveillance network. Dubbed Project Sentinel, this controversial initiative could revolutionize global security, or plunge us into a new era of Orwellian oversight. According to anonymous insiders, Trump and Musk have allegedly been in talks to leverage Musk's advanced SpaceX technology to deploy a constellation of satellites designed to monitor activity on Earth in real time. These satellites, equipped with cutting-edge AI and high-resolution imaging capabilities, would reportedly be able to track everything from environmental changes to human movements with unparalleled precision. The rumored partnership has sparked fierce debate, with supporters hailing it as a bold step toward national security and technological dominance. Critics, however, are alarmed by the implications, warning that such a system could erode privacy rights and give unprecedented power to a select few. Reports suggest that Trump sees this surveillance network as a way to regain control of U.S. intelligence infrastructure. Allegedly frustrated with existing agencies, Trump views Project Sentinel as a tool to bypass traditional systems and gather intelligence directly. For Musk, the project represents a chance to push the boundaries of what SpaceX's satellite technology can achieve. One of the most shocking aspects of this plan is the rumored inclusion of facial recognition technology capable of identifying individuals from space. Critics argue that this would allow for the tracking of citizens on an unimaginable scale, raising serious ethical and legal questions about how the data would be used. Supporters of the initiative claim it could be a game-changer in combating global threats. From tracking terrorist movements to monitoring climate disasters, they argue that a space-based system could provide the U.S. with the upper hand in addressing challenges that traditional surveillance methods fail to capture. But the controversy doesn't stop there. Rumors suggest that Project Sentinel might be partially funded through private investments from Musk's network of billionaires. Critics fear this could allow private entities to influence the use of the system, potentially creating conflicts of interest and undermining public accountability. Insiders hint that the network could also serve commercial purposes, offering real-time data to corporations willing to pay a premium. This has sparked outrage among privacy advocates, who argue that monetizing surveillance data would cross a dangerous line. Adding to the intrigue, there are whispers that Project Sentinel could even include capabilities to intercept and monitor global communications. If true, this would mark an unprecedented expansion of surveillance power, potentially reshaping the global balance of intelligence gathering. Some analysts are comparing the project to a real-life version of the fictional Big Brother, warning that the system could be used to suppress dissent, monitor political opponents, or even manipulate public opinion. Critics are particularly concerned about Trump's alleged role in directing how the network would be used. Supporters counter these concerns by arguing that the project is necessary to secure America's future. They believe that with threats like cyber attacks, terrorism, and climate change on the rise, bold action is needed, and that Project Sentinel is the kind of visionary initiative required to stay ahead of global challenges. As rumors of this partnership grow, lawmakers are beginning to weigh in. Some members of Congress have called for immediate investigations into the legality and oversight of such a project, while others are urging caution, noting the potential benefits of enhanced surveillance capabilities. The international reaction has been equally divided. Allies are reportedly uneasy about the implications of a U.S.-controlled space surveillance network, while adversaries are said to be scrambling to understand its potential impact. Some analysts believe that Project Sentinel could trigger a new kind of space race, with other nations rushing to develop their own systems. Despite the controversy, sources close to Musk and Trump suggest that the project is already in its early stages. Allegedly, SpaceX engineers have been working on prototypes for the surveillance satellites, which could be launched as early as 2025 if the initiative gains momentum. Critics worry that the speed at which this project is advancing could sideline necessary ethical debates. They argue that once a system like this is in place, it would be nearly impossible to dismantle, making it crucial to establish strict regulations before deployment. Trump supporters, however, are enthusiastic about the possibilities. They see Project Sentinel as a testament to his bold leadership and ability to think outside the box. For them, the partnership with Musk represents a marriage of visionary politics and groundbreaking technology. Meanwhile, Musk's fans are equally divided. While some admire his ambition and willingness to tackle massive challenges, others are concerned that this project could tarnish his reputation as a champion of innovation and progress. As speculation continues to swirl, one thing is clear. The very idea of Musk and Trump teaming up to create a space-based surveillance network has captured the public's imagination. Could this be the future of global security, or the beginning of a surveillance state unlike anything the world has ever seen? For now, the details remain shrouded in secrecy, but the implications are staggering. Will Project Sentinel redefine the limits of technology and security, or will it ignite a new wave of controversy that reshapes the way we think about privacy and power? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: this story is far from over. As details about Project Sentinel continue to emerge, speculation is growing about how this initiative might affect ordinary citizens. Critics argue that if the rumored surveillance capabilities are as powerful as described, no aspect of daily life would remain private. Every movement, transaction, and communication could potentially be monitored from space. Supporters of the project, however, believe that enhanced surveillance is a necessary trade-off for increased safety. They argue that in a world plagued by cyber attacks, terrorism, and organized crime, a system like Project Sentinel could provide critical intelligence to keep Americans safe. Rumors suggest that one of the key features of Project Sentinel is its ability to identify anomalous behavior. Using AI algorithms, the network could reportedly flag activities deemed suspicious, allowing law enforcement to act preemptively. Critics worry that such a system could lead to false positives and unfair targeting of innocent individuals. Adding to the controversy, insiders claim that the network could have the capability to monitor encrypted communications. If true, this would raise serious concerns about the balance between national security and individual privacy rights. Legal experts warn that such capabilities could violate constitutional protections. Supporters dismiss these concerns, arguing that the system would include robust oversight mechanisms to prevent misuse. They believe that the benefits of thwarting potential threats outweigh the risks of occasional overreach, especially when dealing with issues like terrorism and organized crime. Some have speculated that Project Sentinel could even include tools to monitor environmental changes and natural disasters. This has sparked debates about whether such a system should be used exclusively for security purposes or expanded to address broader global challenges. Critics argue that combining environmental monitoring with surveillance capabilities could blur the line between public service and invasive oversight. They worry that the dual purpose of the system could be exploited to justify increased surveillance under the guise of environmental protection. Supporters counter that a multi-use system would maximize the value of the network, allowing it to address a wide range of issues. They argue that leveraging satellite technology for both security and environmental purposes is a logical and efficient use of resources. One of the most contentious rumored features of Project Sentinel is its real-time facial recognition capability. Critics warn that this could lead to a dystopian surveillance state where citizens are constantly monitored and identified without their consent. Supporters, however, see facial recognition as a powerful tool for catching criminals and locating missing persons. They believe that this technology, when used responsibly, could save lives and improve public safety. There is also speculation about how Project Sentinel would interact with existing intelligence agencies. Critics worry that the network could undermine organizations like the CIA, NSA, and FBI by consolidating intelligence-gathering capabilities under a single, privately controlled entity. Supporters argue that centralizing intelligence functions would eliminate redundancies and improve coordination. They claim that the current system is inefficient and that Project Sentinel represents a much-needed modernization of national security infrastructure. International reactions to the rumored project have been mixed. Allies like the UK and Canada are reportedly concerned about the implications of a US-controlled global surveillance network, while adversaries like China and Russia are said to be closely monitoring developments. Some analysts warn that Project Sentinel could trigger an international arms race in space. If other nations perceive the network as a threat, they might develop their own satellite systems to counter it, potentially escalating tensions and increasing the risk of conflict. Critics argue that the privatization of such a powerful system could weaken the US's ability to maintain global alliances. They worry that reliance on a privately funded network could create conflicts of interest and reduce transparency in international intelligence sharing agreements. Supporters, however, believe that the US must remain a leader in space technology to maintain its strategic advantage. They argue that partnering with innovators like Musk is the best way to ensure that America stays ahead of its competitors. One of the more speculative rumors involves the potential for Project Sentinel to be weaponized. Critics fear that the satellites could be outfitted with offensive capabilities, such as directed energy weapons, raising concerns about the militarization of space. Supporters dismiss these claims as baseless conspiracy theories, arguing that the project is focused solely on surveillance and intelligence. They believe that introducing weapons into the equation would distract from the network's primary purpose. There is also debate about how Project Sentinel would be funded. Insiders suggest that Musk's involvement could lead to a hybrid funding model that combines private investments with government support. Critics worry that this could allow private investors to influence national security decisions. Supporters argue that involving private investors would reduce the burden on taxpayers and accelerate development timelines. They believe that Musk's proven track record of innovation makes him the ideal partner for a project of this scale. Some have raised concerns about how the network's data would be stored and accessed. Critics warn that centralizing such a massive amount of information could create vulnerabilities, making it a prime target for hackers and cybercriminals. Supporters counter that Musk's expertise in cybersecurity would ensure that the system is secure. They claim that Project Sentinel would set new standards for data protection, making it one of the most secure networks ever created. The rumored partnership between Trump and Musk has also reignited debates about the role of billionaires in shaping public policy. Critics argue that Musk's involvement could set a dangerous precedent, giving unelected individuals disproportionate influence over government decisions. Supporters believe that Musk's visionary approach is exactly what the U.S. needs to address modern challenges. They argue that his collaboration with Trump represents a bold and innovative strategy to tackle issues that traditional institutions have failed to resolve. Some insiders claim that Project Sentinel could include a public-facing component, such as an app or dashboard that allows citizens to access certain types of data. Critics worry that this could create opportunities for misuse, while supporters see it as a way to increase transparency. The potential impact of Project Sentinel on civil liberties has become a focal point of the debate. Critics argue that the network's capabilities could erode fundamental freedoms, such as the right to privacy and freedom of expression. Supporters counter that these concerns are overblown, pointing out that existing surveillance programs already operate under strict legal frameworks. They believe that Project Sentinel would adhere to similar standards, ensuring that it operates within the bounds of the law. As rumors of the project spread, public opinion remains deeply divided. Some see it as a groundbreaking initiative that could redefine global security, while others view it as a dangerous overreach that threatens the very foundations of democracy. Lawmakers are reportedly preparing for heated debates about the project's legality and feasibility. Critics are calling for immediate investigations into the rumored partnership, while supporters are urging Congress to embrace the opportunity for innovation. If Project Sentinel becomes a reality, it could represent a turning point in the relationship between government and private enterprise. Some believe that the collaboration between Musk and Trump could pave the way for future public-private partnerships on a massive scale. For now, the details remain shrouded in secrecy, but one thing is clear. The very idea of a space-based surveillance network has captured the world's attention. Whether it becomes a bold step forward or a cautionary tale remains to be seen, but the stakes could not be higher. As the discussion around Project Sentinel intensifies, one major question remains unanswered. Who will control the vast amount of data this network is expected to collect? Critics argue that concentrating this much power in a private entity could lead to unchecked abuses, especially if corporate interests influence how the data is used. Supporters counter that with proper oversight, the project could become a model of accountability. They envision a transparent system where independent agencies or bipartisan committees ensure that Project Sentinel adheres to strict ethical guidelines while maximizing its benefits. Rumors suggest that Trump views Project Sentinel as a cornerstone of his legacy. Insiders claim that he sees the initiative as a way to demonstrate his commitment to national security, innovation, and keeping America at the forefront of global technological advancements. Critics worry that this focus on legacy could cloud judgment, leading to rushed decisions and insufficient safeguards. They argue that a project of this magnitude requires careful planning and extensive public input, not unilateral action driven by political ambitions. Supporters, however, believe that Trump's boldness is exactly what's needed to cut through red tape and make Project Sentinel a reality. They argue that the president's willingness to take risks sets him apart from leaders who shy away from controversial initiatives. One of the most debated aspects of the rumored network is its potential use in urban environments. Some insiders suggest that the satellites could be tasked with monitoring cities for crime and public safety issues, raising concerns about the militarization of local law enforcement. Critics argue that deploying such technology in urban areas would disproportionately affect marginalized communities, leading to increased surveillance and potential profiling. Supporters counter that crime prevention is a universal benefit, one that transcends concerns about equity. The role of artificial intelligence in Project Sentinel has also sparked heated debate. Critics worry that relying on AI-driven systems to analyze surveillance data could lead to errors, bias, and unintended consequences. They warn that an over-reliance on algorithms could undermine human oversight. Supporters argue that AI is the only way to manage the sheer volume of data that a space-based surveillance network would generate. They believe that advanced algorithms could identify threats faster and more accurately than traditional methods, saving lives in the process. There is speculation that Project Sentinel could be linked to existing SpaceX initiatives, such as the Starlink satellite network. Critics fear that integrating surveillance capabilities into a commercial project could create conflicts of interest, while supporters see it as an opportunity to maximize efficiency. Another point of contention is whether Project Sentinel would share its data with international allies. Critics argue that giving other nations access to such powerful surveillance tools could compromise U.S. security, while supporters believe that collaboration is essential to address global challenges. The potential for commercial applications of Project Sentinel has also raised eyebrows. Insiders suggest that the network could generate revenue by offering real-time data to industries like agriculture, logistics, and insurance. Critics worry that monetizing surveillance data would blur the line between public good and private profit. Supporters argue that commercial applications could help offset the cost of building and maintaining the network. They claim that creating revenue streams would reduce the financial burden on taxpayers, making Project Sentinel a more sustainable initiative. Some lawmakers have raised concerns about how Project Sentinel would comply with existing privacy laws. Critics argue that the network's capabilities could easily exceed the boundaries of what is currently legal, necessitating significant legislative changes. Supporters counter that existing laws are outdated and ill-equipped to handle modern technological advancements. They believe that updating privacy legislation to accommodate Project Sentinel would be a necessary and worthwhile step. International watchdogs are reportedly keeping a close eye on Project Sentinel's development. Critics argue that the network could set a dangerous precedent for other nations, encouraging authoritarian regimes to develop similar systems with far fewer ethical safeguards. Supporters believe that the U.S. has a responsibility to lead by example. They argue that creating a transparent, well-regulated surveillance network could serve as a model for responsible use of technology on a global scale. Rumors suggest that the project has already faced internal disagreements, with some members of Trump's and Musk's teams clashing over its scope and implementation. Critics argue that these conflicts highlight the risks of combining public and private interests in such an ambitious endeavor. Supporters counter that disagreements are a natural part of innovation. They believe that resolving these conflicts will ultimately lead to a stronger, more effective system that balances the needs of both parties. The possibility of using Project Sentinel for environmental monitoring has sparked a separate line of debate. Critics argue that adding this functionality would dilute the network's primary purpose and stretch its resources too thin. Supporters see it as an opportunity to address multiple global challenges simultaneously. One of the most sensational rumors involves the potential use of Project Sentinel for election security. Critics fear that this could open the door to voter intimidation and surveillance, undermining the democratic process. Supporters argue that safeguarding elections is a legitimate national security concern. The question of who would be held accountable for Project Sentinel's actions remains a major concern. Critics argue that the lack of clarity around oversight could lead to a situation where no single entity takes responsibility for potential abuses or failures. Supporters believe that accountability measures would be built into the project from the start. They argue that transparency and oversight are integral to ensuring that Project Sentinel operates within ethical and legal boundaries. As public debate continues, some experts have called for a national referendum on whether Project Sentinel should move forward. Critics argue that such a decision is too complex for a public vote, while supporters believe that democratic input is essential for a project of this scale. The rumored involvement of foreign contractors in building the network has added another layer of controversy. Critics worry that outsourcing certain components could compromise security, while supporters argue that global expertise would enhance the project's capabilities. There is also speculation about how Project Sentinel would handle whistleblowers. Critics warn that the private nature of the network could make it difficult for insiders to expose misconduct, while supporters believe that strong internal policies would prevent such issues from arising. The potential use of Project Sentinel for economic intelligence has raised questions about its scope. Critics argue that monitoring financial markets and corporate activities would overstep its intended purpose, while supporters see it as a valuable tool for national security. Some analysts have compared Project Sentinel to existing surveillance programs like the NSA's PRISM. Critics argue that these comparisons highlight the risks of expanding surveillance capabilities, while supporters believe that lessons learned from past programs will ensure better implementation. If Project Sentinel becomes a reality, it could redefine the relationship between citizens and the state. Critics argue that the network's capabilities could erode trust in government institutions, while supporters believe that transparency and accountability will build public confidence. The debate over Project Sentinel has also sparked broader discussions about the role of technology in society. Critics worry that advancements in surveillance could outpace ethical considerations, while supporters argue that innovation is essential to addressing modern challenges. As rumors swirl and speculation grows, one thing is clear: Project Sentinel has already captured the public's imagination. Whether it becomes a transformative tool for security and progress or a cautionary tale about the dangers of surveillance remains to be seen. For now, the world is watching and waiting.